Look closely at this pot. The water inside is violently boiling, yet the paper towel sitting right underneath it is completely intact. The glass surface itself is perfectly cool to the touch. Standard thermodynamics suggests that to boil water, you must transfer heat from a hot object to a cooler one. Yet here, the energy source is invisible, and the surface between the stove and the pan never gets hot. For roughly 1 million years, human cooking has relied on the exact same principle. You create a fire or a hot electric coil, and you use conduction and convection to transfer that thermal energy into a vessel. That transfer process is notoriously inefficient. When you turn on a gas flame or a traditional electric burner, up to 60% of the energy generated is immediately lost to the surrounding air. Induction stoves operate at roughly 85 to 90% efficiency. They waste almost no energy, allowing them to boil water in half the time of a high-end gas range. To achieve those numbers, engineers had to move past the ancient concept of external heat transfer. If you crack open the ceramic glass top of an induction stove, you won't find a heating element. Instead, you'll see a tightly wound, flat spiral of copper wire. Below that wire sits an inverter. Its job is to take standard 60 Hz electricity from your wall outlet and step the frequency up to a high-frequency current oscillating at 30,000 Hz. The reason for this massive frequency boost dates back to a discovery by Michael Faraday in 1831, proving that electricity and magnetism are two expressions of the same physical force. As that high-frequency current surges through the copper wire, it generates an intense magnetic field that flips its polarity 30,000 times every single second. Magnetic fields pass through electrical insulators without interacting with them. The field shoots right through the ceramic glass and the surrounding air without depositing any heat into the stovetop itself. At this stage, the stove remains cold. It is simply a high-frequency magnetic engine, humming silently, waiting for a specific type of target to enter its field. That target must be a ferromagnetic material. A heavy cast iron skillet is a perfect candidate. The moment you place the skillet on the glass, the alternating magnetic field penetrates the metal. Because the field is constantly shifting, it induces localized swirling loops of electricity directly inside the bottom of the pan, called eddy currents. But if we try this with a highly conductive copper pan, the stove will likely shut down and the pan will stay cold. Iron succeeds where copper fails because of a specific behavior called the skin effect. This plot shows the phenomenon. Iron's high magnetic permeability forces eddy currents to crowd into a microscopic 0.1 millimeter thin layer at the pan's bottom. Forcing current through this razor-thin slice creates a bottleneck, resulting in intense Joule heating. At the atomic level, billions of electrons are now smashing into the iron's rigid crystalline lattice. Their kinetic energy is converted into thermal energy, which spreads through the rest of the pan. The electromagnetic field activates the pan's atomic structure to generate heat internally, removing the need for a secondary thermal source. Because the pan generates its own heat, almost no thermal waste bleeds into the kitchen. If you adjust the dial, the magnetic field changes instantly, giving you immediate temperature control. This method eliminates open flames, toxic nitrogen dioxide fumes from burning gas, and the danger of electric coils that stay hot long after the meal is finished. This technology provides a practical path to transition households away from fossil fuels, allowing for fully electrified, sustainable homes. This shift replaces the external flame with a process where the pan itself generates thermal energy, ending a million-year dependence on secondary heat sources.